My name is Lana Finikin, founding member of Sistren Theatre Collective and executive director. I've been in Sistren since 1977, and I've been working in communities across Jamaica, region and internationally.
Hi Lana, thanks for being here. So reflecting on your decades of work with Sistren, how have you seen the intersection of gender-based violence and reproductive rights evolved in Jamaica?
Over the years, when Sistren started out, we started out as an organization that used theatre as advocacy tool to engage inner city women who look at women's rights and look at health, housing, all the issues that impact them as women in the space that they live and in Jamaica overall. Our work evolves, and then we get in touch with Joan French, who was a friend of Sistren with Judy Wedderburn and others who participate in helping us to understand what gender-based violence is and how it impacts us as women. And we continue on that trend and using the performing arts to address these issues and other issues within the space that we work in. For instance, in parishes across Jamaica, I remember we were looking and doing our research around domestic workers, and we decided that we would go to Clarendon to find women who work in those spaces. And when we went, we did a presentation around our life as women who have to go to work and have to deal with daycare and ensuring that we have space for our children to stay and how we deal with that. And we did a dramatic presentation in East Clarendon. And there was a woman there by the name of Miss Harris. And when we started the skit, she said, "Stop, stop, stop. Who telling about my life?" And we had to stop and tell her, no, this was our personal experience. And we started and have a discussion around the issues. And by having this discussion, we found out that women were being underpaid in the sugar belt area that they were working in. And we moved the research from domestic workers to sugar workers. And we have a documentary called Sweet Sugar Rage that looks at women in sugar and how they were being underpaid and marginalized as well as abused in the system.
Can you share a memorable moment or project where Sistren used the creative arts to address issues surrounding abortion or any other reproductive rights issues?
For me, one was when we were working on the abortion issues in Jamaica. And Dawn had a project that they asked us to do a dramatic presentation around, to present it to Parliament. They were looking at not legalizing abortion, but ensuring that women have safe spaces that they could go to discuss the issue as well as have a final say in if they want to do an abortion. And the women from Anatown who were working with us at the time decided that they would do the piece for us in Parliament. And we went, and when we went, it was drumming and the performing arts. The women were looking at how mental issues as well as child, and one of the character was also a woman in the church, and how they have dealt with the issue. When we went in to do the presentation, the minister at the time, who was Dwight Nelson, said, "I'm tired of listening to arguments and whatever it is, and it's not going anywhere. It's the same thing people keep on saying and repeating." And he walked out of Parliament and went somewhere around the back. And we started the drumming and whatever it is. And he came back in to see what was happening. And when he see what was happening, he sat down and we did a presentation. And after we finished, he said, this is refreshing from what he have been getting since the last couple of weeks. And this give him a different idea and hope me high more to thinking about it. I remember Lisa Anna said she have a character like the mentally ill person in her constituency, several of them, and she have to be taking care of the kids when these things happen to them. I remember Miss Bennett, who says that she's a Catholic and she have a granddaughter at the age of 12, because that was the character of the young miss. And she know she would not live with herself to know that a done rape her granddaughter and have to bring that child to fruition. And she realized now how difficult it is for persons in those situations to make a decision when it comes to those kind of things that happen to them. And we ended up with Minister Roddy Spencer at the time, who was responsible for health and was leading the charge in that. And we started to go across the island having town hall meetings. And I remember we went to Montego Bay. And when Taito Aaron went up to give her a speech, the Christian fundamentalists them from America, and they gathered the ones in the pastors and everybody in Montego Bay and across the island. And they have some bottles with the fetus in there, and they're chanting murder, murder, murder. And one thing stood out for me was the woman in Anatown was vigilant. They decided they are going to do the piece and nobody going to stop them from doing the presentation. And they did the presentation, and when we finished, there were a woman from Montego Bay who came up to us and says, they're glad they came, because the church brought them, but they're glad they came and they see the piece and all the things that were portrayed in the skit relevant to them. And there were pastors who were there at the time who they know who impregnate young girls and get them to do abortion. So they don't know what they are here doing and protesting, and they need to change their lifestyle.
Thank you for sharing that. In your experience, though, how has public perception of abortion and reproductive rights in Jamaica changed over the years?
I think it has changed because in a little way, because I've seen Juliet Cuthbert, who have come on board, join across the aisle, Lisa Anna and others, to talk about abortion and why it should happen. But one of the things, the obstacle that we have is that there is a movement within Jamaica of the churches who have clout, who have funding, who have money, and have access to persons within Parliament. And when they come and when they move and shake things, there's a different aspect of it. Also, for me, the parliamentarians does not want to shake the status quo, because the church have a block of voters who will vote, so they don't want to do anything to ensure that we have legal and safe space for women who can't afford the cost for abortion, because abortion is happening. And it is the women who have money who can go to the right doctor or the right clinic or overseas to get it done, while the women in communities that can't afford it are suffering and sometimes even die in doing that. So we need to ensure that we create safe space and access to the process, so they can be safe and they can do whatever or make a decision for themselves as women.
You mentioned using creative arts as a form of advocacy, and you mentioned the community work that Sistren has been doing. What are some challenges that you have faced in advocating for abortion rights as a member of Sistren?
For me, I remember after we did a presentation in Parliament, and I went to a church that I follow a friend to go to, and the pastor, I went up to give my, you call it now, contribution or offering, and he saw my face and immediately he knew who I was. And when he get up to preach, man, he did me out in church, and I knew it was me he was speaking about. And I sat there, and it never bothered me, because for me, some of us have to do what we have to do to assist the women who can't have the space to lobby or to advocate for themselves. So as an individual and as Sistren, we continue to do what we have to do. One of the things for me is that we can't work in silos. We have to work together. The NGOs and women's organizations, who over the years have been working around this issue, need to get back, need to find ways to continue to push for safe abortion for women. There are women across the Caribbean, a lot of women who were the forefront feminists in the Caribbean, who work with Sistren and who mentor us and give us ideas. Also, my work and our work as an organization in the international space, where we at the United Nations on the Commission on the Status of Women, which I'm a co-chair for Latin America and Caribbean, have influenced the work and have helped to guide the process, but also give you a sense that you're not alone in this. So you feel if you step out, you have persons protecting your back and will stand up for you. And part of the process is just basically working with women who have been working in this process. Persons like Mabel Bianca from Argentina, who is a abortion rights activist and have been at the forefront and working at UN and other meetings within the space. There's a space called Ministers Meeting every November across Latin America and Caribbean. You go there and you agitate, and we come up with a policy document, and you influence that document. That document goes to UN and influence the outcome document of CSW every year. So, and each year you try to ensure that sexual and reproductive health rights are part of, or a paragraph in that outcome document. So you keep on working, agitating, and advocating to ensure that those processes keep going and you are part of that process.
Can you discuss the role of community engagement and grassroots activism in your work on abortion advocacy? I know that Sistren's main form is creative arts. Talk to me about getting your community together. How did Sistren end up taking that route for abortion advocacy?
One of the things is that you work with the women, you do dramatic presentation around issues that affect them. And by doing that, because Sistren work is that you can't just go in and talk to community people. They're not listening you, they get bored easily. So the dramatic presentation is a way of engaging, and when you present, you ask questions, get feedback from them, and out of that dialogue, you hear the issues that are impacting them. You hear about crime, you hear about how they done send for the young girls and all of those stuff. So you hear those issues, and based on hearing those issues, that is how you might write a proposal, or you might engage further to get more in-depth information on the issues and to see how best you can use it to advocate on their behalf.
So tell me the Sistren story. Tell me how you got the community together.
One of the things for me is that most of us live in certain communities at the time. So when we get involved in Sistren, there were persons from Trenchtown, there were persons from Greenwich Town, Maxfield, Rockfort, downtown, Grand Spen, all over the place. And basically, because of where you live and how and what you experience, you bring it to the table. So when you start to work, you know where as Sistren you can go, you know who to link in that space, you know the schools that are there, you know the church that are there, you know the organizations that are there, you know where the community center is, you know who controls the community center, so you can engage them and set up workshops. I remember when we did our first production, Beloma and Bangarang, which was looking at the health issues and health sector and how teenage pregnancy was taking place within the space and how you were treated within the Victoria Jubilee Hospital, sharing bed space, 3 mothers on a bed, all of those stuff with your child and whatever it is. And when we did the production, the audience would stay back at night and question us about the characters and about the issues. And that was how we decided to put not just theater, but a workshop component in Sistren. And then after the workshops and start doing the workshop, now we realize we move from workshop in adding a research department to Sistren, and from research to a skills training session where we do art and craft and printing and all of those stuff basically. And also we move from not just the printing, but we move into doing a magazine that also talks about the issues and get women to interview them and to put into the magazine. And Ambala was one of our graphics persons. So the magazine is there, but he did a graphic at the back of the magazine to illustrate, so the ordinary woman could understand what was in the magazine that they could not read and grasp, basically.
Given your extensive experience, what advice would you give to younger activists and organizations working on abortion advocacy today?
Don't do it alone. Find persons who have done it before you. Get advice. My great-great-grandmother used to say, one cocoa, full basket. The more you are together, the better persons will take you seriously. One of the things that I've learned over the years, that statistics and numbers are very important for you to engage lawmakers. Because if you don't have your figures, if you don't have your stats, if you don't have credible information, nobody will take you serious. And the key thing is work together, seek help, don't do it alone.
Looking ahead, what do you envision as the future of abortion advocacy in Jamaica, and how do you see Sistren continuing to contribute to this cause?
I'm looking ahead. I'm seeing we change. I'm seeing a lot of other organizations popping up. And for me is that I always say to everybody who I meet, who I come across, we are here. You can call, you can reach out to us. We will come, we'll give advice. And if at all possible, if you need the women from Anatown and Rockfort to do dramatic presentations for you, we can engage them, we can pull them in. Although funding is an issue for everybody, we try our best to see what we can do to engage and to work with each other across the spectrum of what it is that we are doing. I would say to the young ones, you have different ideas of going about doing things, but at least the experienced organizations that have been around might know how to tell you to navigate the space by using the new nuances and modern technology and all of those stuff. So the TikTok, the Facebook, the Instagram, the tribal, all of those stuff that the chat and whatever it is that are out there, Snapchat, etc., are very important tools to use to engage, to get young people to be part of the process. But also, the old way of doing it sometime will assist you in getting to the milestone or the goalpost that you want to get to.